we have to think about what is a right. A right is something that you can do or have by law. And it's important to note this word here, have. We usually use the word have with right. So, for example, have rights. Now, rights can be plural, rights with an S, or you can also say it in a singular way. You have a right. Have a right to do something. So, I have rights, or I have a right to do something. And we usually use this type of sentence, especially when somebody's trying to prevent us from doing something. Say, you can't do that. No, I can do it. I have rights, or I have a right to do something. I have a right to be here. I have a right to say what's on my mind. I have a right, or I have rights. We usually use the word have with rights. Now, right, something that you can do or have by law. That's important right there, by law. Your society, and if most of us, we live in a democratic society. Most people in the world, thankfully, live in a democratic society. Some people don't. Some people don't have all the rights that we have because their society does not have the laws that protect their rights or that gives them rights, right? We enjoy a lot of rights in a democratic society by law. Our democratic society, our democratic government makes laws that give us a lot of rights to be able to do something. So these are rights, okay? But what about responsibilities? Responsibility, that's a long word. Responsibility. Now again, responsibility can be singular, it can also be plural. We have many responsibilities, right? So we have a responsibility or we have responsibilities. Again, you can use the word have. I have a responsibility to do something. Responsibility means taking care of something and taking the blame if it goes wrong. That's interesting. Let's talk about it. By the way, taking care of something, it can also be taking care of someone, something, or someone. For example, look at this picture. Here we have father, mother, and two boys, right? The parents have a responsibility to take care of their children. That would be someone. So take care of something or someone, right? You have a responsibility to take care of your things. For example, your school books, your clothes. You shouldn't go out and destroy your clothes. Your mom will be very angry. You have a responsibility to take care of your things. Your parents have a responsibility to take care of you. Also, part of being responsible means taking the blame if it goes wrong. So if you do go out and you ruin your book, right? You go out and you drop your book in a muddy puddle and it gets all wet because you made a mistake. You should admit it. Don't lie. Say somebody stole your book, right? Be responsible. Be responsible. Do not lie. Be responsible. Whoops, this pen. Be responsible. Be responsible. Take responsibility. That's another one. Take responsibility. Whew, it's a long word. So you should be responsible. You should take responsibility. That means you should admit when something goes wrong. When you make a mistake, be responsible. Take responsibility. Admit that you made a mistake. That's part of being responsible. That's part of your responsibility. So responsibility is kind of like a duty, something that you should do. So right is something that you can do. Responsibility is something that you should do. Okay, so those are rights and responsibilities. Let's take a look at the next one. Choose. Choose is an important word when we talk about rights and responsibilities. Choose means to pick something, to pick, to choose something or someone from among others. So if this boy has a choice, right? He has a choice. Again, we use have a choice, have responsibility, have a right, have a choice. This boy has a choice to make. He can choose the vegetables or he can choose the sandwich with the cheese and the meat and everything else. Now, he's going to choose this one. right? Because it tastes better. This one is probably healthier for him, but he's going to choose the sandwich because it tastes better. Now, it's his responsibility to choose the right thing. It's his responsibility to choose things that are good for him. Maybe some choices that we make are not fun, right? It's more fun to eat a sandwich than it is to eat a plate of vegetables. However, which is better for you? It's better to eat the vegetables. These are choices. That's just a small example of choices that we make every day, right? We have the right to choose what we want, but we also have the responsibility to choose what's best for us and the people around us. That's a very important idea to remember, and that's an important concept to think of when we think about rights and responsibilities. We have the right to choose whatever we want, but we have the responsibility to make good choices for ourselves and for other people. It's an interesting idea. Okay. Respect. When we're talking about rights and responsibilities, of course, we're talking about our rights, our responsibilities, but we also have to think about people around us. What are their rights? What are our responsibilities to other people? And part of that is showing respect to other people. You show respect to somebody. Show respect to other people. Show respect to your parents. Show respect to your teachers. Show respect to your friends. That means polite behavior toward someone. You should be polite. You shouldn't be rude. Of course, polite and rude are opposite, right? The opposite of polite is rude. Whoops, rude. D. R-U-D-E. Sorry, I messed that up there. I'll spell it again. R-U-D-E. Rude. The opposite of polite is rude. If you're rude, it means you're behaving badly towards somebody, especially when you think about sports. If you're playing soccer, right, you should be polite to other people who you are playing soccer with, on your team and on the other team. You shouldn't kick the other team members, right? That would be rude. If you accidentally kick another person while you're playing soccer, you should be polite. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to kick you. Are you all right? That's part of showing respect. That's part of being polite to other people. Okay? So you should show respect to other people. And that's part of being polite to other people. Okay. Duty. Duty has to do with responsibility, right? We all have duties in our life. We have duties to do things. Something that you must do, that you must do. What is this person doing here? They are voting. Vote. Now, you are probably too young to vote, but when you get older, it's your duty to vote. Every citizen has a duty to vote. Right now, what are some of your duties now? Some of your duties are to obey your parents, to obey your teachers, to study hard. These are things that you must do. It's your duty to take care of your health. It's your duty to take care of the things that you have, to clean your room, to help your family. These are duties that you have. These are responsibilities that you have. Duty and responsibility are very similar. They're almost the same, right? We have responsibilities, we have duties. Things we must do, or things we should do. Okay. Act. When we talk about act, act is anything that you do. But in another way, act is, it says to do something, but it's also everything that you do. It's also how you behave. Act is very similar also to, how you behave. In other words, you can say, act responsibly in your daily life. Throughout the whole day, you should act responsibly. I'm having problems. Okay, act responsibly. That means act in a responsible way. Do things correctly. Do your duty, right? Do things that are your duty. Do things that are your responsibility. Show respect to other people. These are all parts of acting responsibly. Do the things that you're supposed to do. If something goes wrong, take the blame. If it's your fault, take the blame for it. If it's not your fault, don't take the blame. But if it is your fault, don't lie, be honest, act responsibly, take the blame for it if it's your fault. So act responsibly, behave in a certain way. So act is very similar to behave. How do you behave? Do you behave well or do you behave poorly? It's the same thing as do you act well or do you act poorly? How do you behave? Okay? Okay, and we should behave responsibly. Okay, let's move on. Here we have express. Now express means to tell others your ideas using words, gestures, or behavior. So when you express yourself, you're expressing yourself on many different levels. One level is by what you say. That's one level, okay? You're expressing your ideas, what you're thinking. But you can also express yourself using gestures, right? If you use gestures, we can talk with our hands, but some gestures you can also express yourself. If you go like this is one gesture showing something. If you go like this, that's another gesture showing something. So the gestures, your body language also expresses what you're thinking. Okay, so gestures also. And finally, we also have behavior. How do you act? If you act rudely towards somebody, you're expressing yourself. You're telling other people that you're not a nice person. If you behave politely, right? If your behavior is polite, then you're expressing to other people that you are a nice person. So we express ourselves on many different levels by our words, by our gestures, and how we behave. These are all ways that we express ourselves to other people. So that's very interesting. Think about that. It's not just what you say, it's how you act and how you use gestures also. These are all ways to express yourself. Okay. Finally, we have idea. Idea, you express ideas, of course. I just said that you use words to express your ideas, but what is an idea? An idea is a thought about something. So especially when you're studying at school, right? Your teacher is teaching you something, well, you have certain ideas about that subject, and you may have unique or original ideas. You might, oh, that's a good idea. You think about something, right? Let's take a look at this video here. Now, of course, this is not happening in your head. There are no gears in your head, right? But this is an interesting idea to show that when you're thinking about something, it's like these gears are spinning in your head. Your brain is working, right, really hard, and it's like there's a lot of motion, a lot of gears going around in your head, and you're thinking of something, and ooh, you have an idea, right? You get an idea. Get an idea. Whoops. You get an idea. You get an idea because your brain is working very hard and you get ideas.
Lesson 5. What can citizens do? Right. Something that you can do or have by law. Responsibility. Taking care of something and taking the blame if it goes wrong. Choose. To pick something or someone from among others. Respect. Polite behavior toward someone. Duty. Something that you must do. Act. To do something. Express. To tell others your ideas using words, gestures, or behavior. Idea. A thought about something.